like you go through your childhood thinking you just want to blend in.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's that moment where you're like, oh, wait, standing out is actually good. And people remember me and I'm okay with it. So yeah, I've done like a 180 with how I think about my name, how I use it. But it was definitely a Kickstarter for me. I'm not going to lie.
Well, Charlie, I got an interesting question here because, like, as we're talking about challenges and things, and we're talking about a time in our career, which we will not say is longer than 10 years ago. But when you started your career, we're entering a world where you don't have the digital footprint that we have today, right? So if anybody sees my name in their inbox, they can go and Google me and they're going to find 10 pages on Google of anything that I have said. Now, you're in this work field in a male-dominated space, and your name is Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask you, did that help or did that hinder you at any point? Because again, now they don't have a picture of you and they don't know that they're looking at Miss Beautiful Charlie here that I am. How did that play a role?
Yeah, I have to start with, I grew up in the 70s. Don't tell anyone, but I was born in the 70s. So my parents were kind of hippies, and my grandfather's name had been Charles. And so I was named after my grandfather. But growing up, it was unheard of. I mean, now I could find, a girl named Charlie under the age of 10 within arm's reach. Like they're everywhere. But growing up, every person who met me, it was like, oh, Charlie, that's cute. It's Charlotte though, or is it Charlene? Or did your parents want a boy? And so I really hated my name growing up because I stood out. Like every substitute teacher would be confused in roll call, or like, the nurse at the doctor's office would be like, Charlie, and I'd stand up and they'd be like, no, I said Charlie. And so my whole life, I was even put in a boys' room in my dorm freshman year, because even though we moved very quickly, but even though I select female, someone in the application office, and it wasn't common the way it is today. None of those names. So I didn't love it. But when I started my business, I definitely, and I don't remember the moment, but there was something that changed in me where I was like, I'm going to start using this to my advantage. And so you're right. Like this was before LinkedIn. I mean, I was on Craigslist doing deals, but I would email someone or they would email me, dear Mr. Saffro, we have a hiring need. We'd love to meet with you. And I never lied, but I stopped correcting people. I just stopped being like, no, it's Mrs. My name's, and I just would be like, sure, let's line up a call. Best regards, Charlie. And like, I write with 1,000 exclamation points and smiley faces. Like if they couldn't figure out that I was a woman, like they're not paying attention.
You're like, then they're not that smart. So that's not that's a them problem.
That's
not a me problem.
Exactly. But I would say I couldn't even count how many meetings I had where, if nothing else, it was an icebreaker. I would show up, I would walk in and I'd be like, I'm here to meet so-and-so. And they're like, oh, are you on Charlie's team? Is he coming in? And just sheer confusion if I joined a call, if I walked in a room. And so I do think, I can't say which meeting specifically, but there were definitely meetings that I landed because they thought I was a man, and they would not have continued the conversation if they saw who was sitting behind the desk. So,
listen, we have to play the cards we're dealt. So you didn't do anything wrong, right? They did by making an assumption.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow. Okay. Because I had to ask because, as I mentioned to you earlier, me and my daughter, we're huge fans of non-traditional gender names. So like I had a friend in high school growing up and her name was Ryan. And Love that. Very similar timeline in kind of when we grew up. And so, like a very uncommon time for a beautiful woman to be called Ryan. And, Ryan wasn't short for anything. It's not like where Charlie could be Charlotte or Charlene or anything. Nope. She was just Ryan.
Or then they try and pronounce it differently. They're like, is it Ryan?
No, just Ryan. So we've always loved that. And I think that there is such beauty and saying that names don't have genders, right? It's just, a name is a name. That's it.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And so I love that you kind of leaned into that. I love that you took advantage of it when you had to or could. Yeah. So good for you.
And I'd say that's a good lesson. I wish I knew that. I hated it because I stood out and I never wanted that. And then all of a sudden one day I was like, wait, I could actually stand out by embracing it. And you want to see, you go through your childhood thinking you just want to blend in.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's that moment where you're like, oh, wait, standing out is actually good and people remember me and I'm okay with it. So yeah, I've done like a 180 with how I think about my name, how I use it, but it was definitely a Kickstarter for me. I'm not going to lie.
I can imagine. I know that, you know, children are children, right? And they're not always kind. So it's always hard to like navigate those early years. But I love that you kind of like stepped into it. Now you just own it. And it's like, it is who you are. And I love that you named your company after it too.
Thank you.
Everyone listening, thank you guys for your time as well. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please rate and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, subscribe on YouTube, connect with me on LinkedIn. And until next time, we'll see you soon.